I'm so excited to be conducting my third author interview today with the amazing and prolific author Victoria Denault. Victoria says that she loves ocean air, 70s music, oh my god, me too, and strong heroines and flawed heroes. She's a former journalist, stand up comic, and calls herself a former corporate marketing minion. Victoria is Canadian, go Canada! And former
Yay!
Californian who lives in a 225-year-old house with her husband, the Chihuahua Maximus, who I hope is going to make another appearance, and what she chillingly describes as more spiders than she cares to think about. Oh my god, I would die. Victoria's newest release, If the World Was Ending, is out on August 4th, and it is one hell of a good read. The story of Colby, Keaton, and Hunter Law had me captivated from moment one. So, welcome, Victoria, and thank you for taking the time to chat with me.
Thank you for having me. This is always fun.
Oh my gosh, you're in my favorite city in the world right now, Paris, France. What are you up to in the City of Light?
Nothing working. We moved here in October. Uh yeah, we bounced around a lot for my husband's job, and that's why we were in LA. So we moved here in October. I still have the house. We had moved to the south of France with all the spiders, and we were on House Hunters International. We did that,
Oh,
and now we're in Paris for his work, and I love it. It's amazing. It's so magical. You can't not walk out the door and feel like you're starring in your own movie, like it's just everything's wonderful
it's so
except the heat.
beautiful. I do not understand people who don't love Paris,
I don't
honestly.
either.
Like, can you tell me a little bit about how you got into writing and what inspires you?
I've just always wanted to write. I've just always written. Like I it's like when I was little, I started reading as a preteen, as a tween, I guess. Like reading for fun, not because teachers
Sure.
made you. I discovered stuff like Sweet Valley High, and Christopher Pike had these like scary books, almost like I Know What You Did Last Summer type stuff.
Okay.
And so I started reading like avidly. And thank God my parents were just so grateful I was interested in anything to do with school-ish stuff, that they would buy me whatever books I wanted, and I would just
Nice.
plow through books all the time. And then I decided to start writing my own stories, even at that age. So I was just writing at the time. What I didn't realize, it was fan fiction because I was 12 and that didn't exist. But like I would read a book and I'd like characters, so I'd invent characters that were like neighbors of those characters or
Ah,
friends, and just write that for myself, like longhand for fun. And then I took English in college. I started writing. I remember I had a high school teacher who told me like, this could be a book about a short story I wrote for her.
oh,
And I
wow.
was like, oh, and that's, but I didn't do anything with that really, because everyone tells you you can't just be an author. It's impossible. You can't do that. So I
Right.
went into journalism, and then that turned into marketing and advertising. And then I got a job in LA for UCLA Extension, which does the writers program.
Oh, cool.
And I basically took it because they were offering free classes on top of your pay. And I was
Okay.
like, okay, yeah, I can take more writing classes. Because I always, even when I graduated, got an English degree, got a journalism diploma from Humber in Toronto. And then I just kept taking writing classes at like Vancouver Film School, UCLA, all that stuff. And but never did anything with it because everyone tells you can't. It's impossible. But they brought in an agent to one of these seminars I took at UCLA Extension, and I kind of liked everything she had to say. And so I said to my husband after that seminar, I was like, I'm going to query her. Like, I'm going to figure out how to do that. And I'm going to do that. And he said, we were living in LA at the time, and he is very supportive, but he made the joke. He's like, yeah, you and everybody else in this city, because in LA, everyone
I
is like,
know.
your barista's a screenwriter and your cab driver's a actor. So I was like, yeah, but I mean, what does it hurt? If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So I queried this agency, and this agent is specifically, but she had just signed on new agents, and she's like, I want to give this to one of my new agents. I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And she asked me within a week for the full manuscript, and then a week after that she signed me, and then a month after that she got me a 3-book deal with Hachette.
Oh
So
my gosh.
so anyone who says, and now I have 10 books with them, so anyone who says it can't happen, it can happen. Just don't listen to
Wow.
people.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. I
Yeah.
love the fact that you were at the UCLA Extension because that comes up in this book, and so you were definitely writing yourself into these characters and these plot lines, right?
Yeah. 100%.
Oh my gosh, that's interesting. Yeah, no, people say that you can't do it. People say you can't make a penny in writing, and I know there are some starving authors out there.
You have to love it to do it. You can't just, it's not, don't do it if you don't love it, because it's a lot of work and it's a lot of hardship in a lot of ways. But if you love it, definitely try to do it.
I
So
love that. I think about it sometimes, but I just don't have plot lines in my head. So that's the thing that I'll be working on. So this book, If the World Was Ending, I saw that it was out and I was like, ooh, I think I want to give that an arc read. It just sounds interesting. And then I was sucked in completely. So could you give us a 30-second elevator pitch about that book?
30 seconds. That's always hard.
Or whatever you want.
Let me figure it. I had a good line. I was thinking of this today in the shower, but of course it left my head. It's basically a love triangle in my head between two aspiring artists and the Hollywood industry. So they both love the industry. They both want more than anything to be accepted and famous and revered for what they love doing, which is one's acting, one's a musician. They both want that from Hollywood. They're both pursuing Hollywood, but Hollywood only wants them if they give up each other. So it's like a little bit of a love triangle in my head. Like Hollywood is the third main character.
Yeah,
So
and Hollywood is like not my favorite main character in this story. Let's face it, because Hollywood keeps coming for these guys, and I'm
yeah.
not having that.
Yeah, they're the villain for sure.
I know, total villain. So you wrote these guys, Hunter and Colby. I'm curious, of course, if you've ever known any Hunter and Colbys in your life, but what are some of your favorite qualities about them?
I like that Hunter has anxiety because I have anxiety. And hello, sorry,
Hi,
crawling
Maximus.
all over me. Um, and but that he tries to cover it with humor. There's a scene, it's the most throwaway scene in there, but he's talking with his agent on the phone and she's trying to be serious and he's about a role that he went out for that he assumes he didn't get. So he's just making jokes about like, oh, you're leaving Hollywood forever. Oh, you're gonna start In-N-Out Burger run by llamas. Like
Yes.
that's because I do that too. I deflect a lot with stuff like that. And that's why I got into stand-up comedy when I did it. Because if I always said, if you can't laugh, you cry. So I try to make people laugh, even myself with stuff, or make people laugh at my bad situations. So I love that about Hunter. And I'm just a sucker for a musician. So I love everything about Colby. Like before my husband, I dated a few musicians. Yeah, I love anyone who can sing a song, and lyrics to me, oh, they're poetry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's the poetry of it, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, totally. Singers and songwriters, like, and that's what sucked me into Colby, right? He's writing his own songs and they're powerful and beautiful. And yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's what you like about the characters. What drives you
Yeah.
crazy about them?
It's funny because I probably have this quality, but with Colby, it's his stubbornness. Like he knows from his teenhood that he's queer, but when his dad finds out and has a horrible reaction to it, he denies himself any kind of relationship with anyone and almost kind of, you hear about it, it's not on the page, but he talks about like prior hookups with people and stuff and it just never worked. And because he's trying to basically prove his dad wrong, he's so angry at his family that he doesn't want them to be able to say, I told you so, and that it was stolen from him by his brother, his ability to come out on his own. So now he doesn't want to do it at all. So that's his stubbornness, but I'm also a very stubborn person. So I relate to it, but I also know it can ruin things for you if you're that stubborn. So that bugs me about Colby. And Hunter, I think he's just very self-defeating when he doesn't get a role. He takes it so personally. And Colby works really hard as his best friend before the benefits part of just sort of talking him out of that headspace. So he needs to believe in himself more because acting, if you don't, it's a hell journey. Because I've been an actor before
Absolutely.
too. So yeah.
Yeah, no, he absolutely doesn't believe in himself until all of a sudden people start paying attention. He's like, "What? Wait, what? Like, how's this possible?" But that whole Colby bit about him just like absolutely refusing to let his family be right, that was so interesting to me because I can see that. I can imagine that in some people that they're just so stubborn that, well, you took this out of my hands, well, then there's no way you're going to be right. Absolutely
Yeah.
not. Right.
Even if it sucks the joy out of your own life, you're just that, yeah,
I've
which
done
is
that.
what it does. Yeah. I've
It's
done
real. It's so real, and that's one of the things that I loved about these characters. Even though they're like they're kind of becoming stars, they're like actual human beings as well. Very complicated human beings. So, without giving away any spoilers, did any of your characters surprise you when you were writing?
Well, there's a journey with Hunter and his mother that I didn't realize I was going to take until I took it.
Okay.
And then like I knew the the sort of push and pull of their dynamic, how she is, because that was very much, my own father was very much like that. When I would be like, I'm moving here, I'm doing this, and he'd always be like, but security, and that's his mother. So I
Yeah.
knew that I wanted them to sort of reconcile her fears for him and his lifestyle, being an actor and everything. But a plot twist happened as I was writing. I was like, oh, I didn't know I was going to go there. And then I went there, and it changed the whole dynamic of his parental relationship. And I didn't see that coming. So it was more a plot twist that my brain developed without telling me. So
I loved his mother. I loved that character. I loved the love that she had for him. My mother is also super overprotective, so that definitely like rang true. What was your inspiration for the book?
I lived in Los Angeles for 7 years, and I absolutely loved LA. I always wanted to live there. So when I got to live there, I was over the moon. And so I miss it in a sense. And I'll say this without being political. I miss California, but I don't miss the way America runs. But I loved California. I love the sunshine every day. Everyone's trying to be someone. I love that hustle because I always wanted to be an author, and I never really did it, but I always had it in me. I was always writing stuff on the side. So I understood those plights of people. I did stand-up comedy for a while, so I understood that. I've done the Comedy Store. I've done all that stuff. So I get that hustle, and I miss it. And so I like to write about it. I have some MF books that are set in LA, that kind of thing. But Hollywood is not as welcoming for diversity as it pretends it is. And I like to expose that, like I do with the NHL as well. So with my hockey books, because they shouldn't get away with just waving one flag and being like, we're cool, when you know that their people are blackballed. I follow a lot of queer actors who will still do posts about how people say it doesn't matter, but it does matter, and it costs them roles, and that kind of thing makes me nuts. So I wanted to expose that a little bit, pick at that. I also was, for the characters themselves, I had just finished watching Heated Rivalry like everybody else in the world, and
Yeah,
dove into all the books and her other two books, which I absolutely love as well, that aren't part of that series. And
totally.
I just had so much joy reading that. And I wanted to write something that brought me the same joy that her books. I'm not comparing myself at all, but there's a feeling with those two characters that I just loved how much they loved each other, even when everyone told them not to, even when they told themselves not to. And I wanted to write that. And so I did. It wasn't on my schedule for the year. It just took hold of me. And I was like, yeah, I'm doing this.
That's amazing. And you know, it's funny, if it weren't for Hollywood being what Hollywood is, then it would make such a good movie. But Crave TV in Canada might, you know, they're a little bit
Never
more,
know.
you never know. I kind of hate this question because I'm scared of the answer. But is there anything maybe in store for Hunter or Colbs in the future? Or do you think you're done with those characters?
I don't want to be done with them, but at the moment I'm done with them. Like if the book shot off exponentially, I could probably figure out some kind of sequel. However, and this is a big can of worms, I don't know why I'm opening. Like sometimes my brain, honestly, I could hit myself. So this originally started, it was just going to be a sweet little novella for a charity anthology called Love Is All. And there is a shorter HFM version of Colby and Hunter in there that's
Okay.
slightly different. And I'm also going to be in the next anthology, Love Is All. And I'm going to write about Atlas, Colby's horrible brother.
Oh my gosh.
So he's going to get a novella, and I'm going to try to redeem him. So,
Oh
yeah,
my
I don't know if
gosh.
I can, but I'm going to try.
Oh my gosh. She's living in Texas right now, and what a sweet thing that would be to have something fun happen in that state. That would be very exciting.
Yeah,
I was wondering a lot about what was going to happen with that character and if I was going to see anything more. So,
yeah.
what are you working on next? Are there any more MM romances coming your way? Are you focusing on MF romance right now? What's going
Uh,
on?
I literally flip flop between both. And I always try to work a MM in, even if a series starts as MF. Like I have a series called Hockey Royalty, and there's MM books in that. And same with I have a small town romance series called Ocean Pines. There's an MM book in that. But I am actually and I've just started the first book, a trilogy of MM hockey romances. Yeah, the first one's going to be called East Meets West. All the book titles are based off the characters' names. Like these characters are Maddox Eastman and West Cabot.
Oh,
And
cool.
yeah, they're college rivals who end up being drafted to the same team and have to figure out like how to work together, and
Oh
they're
my
also
God.
both closeted and want to remain closeted. So they decide, like, well, we could just enjoy each other. For, like, it just makes sense. It'll bond us, and we can get our rocks off. I don't know, without, because we have to be secretive anyway, and the
Yeah.
whole thing blows up. But yeah. So that's the first book in the series. I don't know when it will come out. I'm thinking probably early next year. And then I have two other books in the series as well, roughly plotted out.
That's so exciting. I mean, hockey romances are, Rachel Reed tapped into that thing and Jacob Tierney brought it up. And that whole idea of this whole league that is so incredibly homophobic,
Mhm.
and having these guys that actually have the nerve eventually to come out and to be their true selves. It's very powerful, I think, for a lot of queer readers, honestly, because that journey to being yourself is just, it ain't easy, right?
And the thing about the NHL, there was a joke I saw online that was like, there's a way to cure homosexuality. It's become a professional hockey player, because there's 736 of them, and you're telling me not one of them is gay or bi or queer in some way, because that's a lie.
Right.
and
Total lie.
and I figure it's almost like I said this in another book. I write the NHL that I want to exist, not the one that actually does. And I feel like if more of us write this stuff and it gets out there and it gets seen and it gets accepted, then maybe these guys, one of them will feel seen and accepted, and find courage in it. And that's
And
all I
what's
want
funny
in the
is
world.
Hollywood is making all these hockey shows and they're missing the point.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
absolutely missing the point. It's not about the hockey, y'all.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Mm,
And it
yeah.
kills me that they literally are so obtuse about it on purpose. Like, I know they know what they're doing. Like, and that's another reason why I wrote this, If the World Was Ending, and picked at Hollywood, because they constantly do that, purposely miss the point when it comes to queer stories and queer actors or queer artists. Like, come on. Like,
Everyone's so afraid of the religious right in
um,
in Hollywood, and it's just ridiculous. We need to stop being afraid of those people and just exist. And Hollywood needs to understand that we exist. We need to stop being afraid of that right-wing Republican voter base. Sorry, I went politics.
no, but what are they going to do? And someone said, I've had people say to me, like, you should be quieter about your personal beliefs because you might lose book sales. And to what I say, like, I'm sorry, but I don't want those people reading my books, because if they are reading my books, I mean, thanks for the 4.99 or whatever, but you're also a hypocrite because you're actively voting against these characters that are bringing you joy. Like, it makes no sense to me. So,
Totally.
yeah,
Totally true. Well, there's a lot of hidden anxiety in that community because the hypocrisy is so real that
yeah,
people can't let themselves like what they like.
yeah.
That's a complete shame. So, what inspired you to write romances in the first place?
Lots of stuff. But my favorite show of all time ever, before Heated Rivalry, because now it's Heated Rivalry, but for decades, over a decade, I want to say, was Queer as Folk, the American version. Like, I
Yes.
just loved it. I just absolutely loved it. I just feel like people have a right to see themselves on the page. No, I'm not a gay man, and I do defer to them, like, obviously. But I also feel like there is so much less pressure as a writer as well as a reader, I feel, because I'm also an avid reader. Because I've written characters, female characters before, that they just get torn apart by readers a lot. Like, if they're too strong, then they're unlikable. If they're too outspoken, then they're this. I don't have to worry about that with two men, because, as we know in some of the MF books or whatever, some of the male characters are literally atrocious, and people are like, "Oh, but he just needs to be loved and he'll change," you
I
know. So
know.
I know. So, and like, you make the woman a little bit spicy and snarky, and she's unlikable. Like, I don't have to worry about that with characters. I don't. I can write them as flawed or with as many quirks as I want, and they seem to be more accepted. And I also just love the community, and I want to promote it, and I want to share it. So,
I
happy
love that.
stories about it. Happy
Yeah.
endings.
Instead of tragedies, like
Yeah.
where, yeah, that was always the way, right? The gay one dies at the end or
Yeah.
whatever.
And I mean, some of it's, I get it. There's factual issues with, like, the AIDS epidemic that happened. Like, there was this British show I watched that touched on that, and of course, some of the main characters on that died. Then the one with Matt Bomer and Jonathan, most gorgeous man in the world, Bailey. That show they did that was set in the Truman era, and I can't remember the name of the video there. and it was wonderful. But then one of them dies, and that happens a lot. And even Queer as Folk, which again, my favorite show ever before Heat of Rivalry, Justin gets attacked by a guy I actually went to college with, the actor.
No
Yeah.
kidding.
Which is crazy because he's
Not
the
for
sweetest
real
guy in the
attack,
world.
just on the
No,
fiction.
no, no. Yeah, he's the sweetest guy in the world. But I just felt like we can do this without the trauma, right? Like I just wanted to write something that wasn't so someone didn't die in the end. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah,
I love that. And I love the happily ever afters because honestly, I need to believe that the ever afters are there. When I read a book that's a multi-part book and it ends on a cliffhanger that may or may not go well, like I die inside until I get that next book to know if
yeah,
the characters are going to be okay. Because
yeah,
like it kind of haunts me, that whole thing. I grew up as a gay man in the 1980s and 90s, and it was a terrifying time. So that reality is there, like you said. But the truth is that having some happily ever afters in our fiction is just so healing, to
yeah,
think that that might be possible.
yeah.
So I
And it
appreciate it.
and if there's 18-year-olds, or because I'm not recommending anyone under 18 read my books, but if there's 18-year-olds or there's people sort of at any age exploring their sexuality, because it doesn't have to happen as a teenager. A lot of people think it does, but there are people who are 30 and 40 and 50 who are just figuring out who they really are because they've
Totally.
followed what society told them or what their parents expected or what have you. And so if they pick up those books and they see themselves on the page, or it gives them the courage, like I hope it does for an NHL player, to come out, that's why I write it, because that's what I
Oh my
want. I
God.
want everyone to have a safe space, except
Absolutely. And that's the
except
place for the
kids.
coming of age stories as well, right? Like Heartstopper, for example.
Yeah.
Heartstopper is just one of those shows. It's teenagers and they're in the present. And I watch that and I think to myself, wow, that is not a reality that I had, but I can relate to what's going on and I can see the positivity, and it can change people's lives. There's a whole book about it changing people's lives. So I'm going to need you to have a book about changing people's lives once the NHL starts coming out, right? And
I
and once
wish they did.
once if the world was ending gets made into a movie by Crave and streamed all over the world, and then we can laugh at Hollywood together.
Well, I mean, Hunter is Canadian, so there's a Canadian affiliate tie in there. So
We need Jacob Tierney to read this book.
I
Anyone know Jacob around here?
wish.
I've decided that Rachel Reed is my best friend because she lives very close to me. We've never met each other, of course, and she doesn't know that she's my best friend. But that's a problem for later. So maybe she can hook us up with Jacob Tierney.
Yeah, really.
So I'm going to end with a couple of completely random things. Now, you did homework on the Proust questionnaire, so I'm not letting you off the hook entirely with something of surprise. So Marcel Proust was a French writer, a gay guy who used to play parlor games in the early 1900s, and these questions spurred conversation. So my question for you is, and the answer can't be Maximus
Okay.
or your husband. What is your most treasured possession?
It's very strange. It's
Ooh.
a cassette tape of the Eagles' greatest hits, which actually is just sitting over there. We just brought it from our house in the South here so we could hang it, but I haven't hung it yet. I framed it.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I
And
love
it's,
that.
yeah, I'll tell you the quick version. So when I was like 17, 18, and I didn't know where I wanted to go to college or what was going on in my life, and I was working this horrendous retail job, and, just you're at that point where you're supposed to know what to do next. I didn't know what to do next. I get in my dad's car, which I borrowed to go to work, and it was like a Cutlass Sierra. It was 1990, and it had one of those like velour bench seat things, and
Yes.
and wedged in there was a cassette of the Eagles' greatest hits. My parents do not listen to the Eagles. Okay,
Oh my
I don't know where this cassette. I have brothers and sisters, but none of them had borrowed the car. They weren't living at home, so I'm like, where did this cassette come from? And I just popped it in, and that music just totally like got me through that summer of transition and not knowing. I just blared it 24/7. I didn't know who the Eagles were before this. Like I'd heard their music, I guess, occasionally on the radio or
yeah.
whatever, but like I became obsessed with it. And that tape, I brought it to college with me. I brought it, it's been everywhere. It's here in France. Like I don't even have a cassette player right now. So we framed it. It's just that music helped me through a really tough time. I have Eagles lyrics now tattooed on my ankle.
Oh
I,
wow.
yeah, I've seen them twice, only twice. I want to see them one more time before they stop playing, but we'll see.
Gosh.
It's the
I
weirdest
love
thing, but
that.
it's just stuck with me and I love it.
It's absolutely not weird. I have an album on my wall, which we're going to talk about in just a few moments. But music is so like that, right? Music can get you through those hard times. Mine was Closer to Find by the Indigo Girls, their very first sort of
Yeah.
real album. Like that album played all summer of 1993 in my life and got me through a time as well. So I love that. And I carry that with me. That is here as well. So not strange at all. Now, my most treasured possession, actually, besides my coffee pot, would be I have this picture of my mother and me when I was, I think, 3 years old. And she's just kind of holding my hands, and I'm holding her hands and looking at each other. And, it's just such a sweet and tender moment between me and my mom that I have it framed and sitting here, and it's all faded and stuff. And
Oh,
that
I
would
love it.
be, yeah, that would be my favorite thing. My favorite thing. It doesn't look like me, because it's a little boy in there. And I asked ChatGPT to make it into a girl one day, and it made me cry. So that's not going
Oh,
up anywhere.
yeah,
But
that's
yeah. So now we're gonna play a little game called Love It, Like It, Not My Thing. Okay, I've got these record albums because, yes, I actually still have record albums. And I'm going to tell you that this is the album that is on my wall. This is Blue by Joni Mitchell. You mentioned Joni Mitchell in If the World Was Ending because she lived in Laurel Canyon, and that's where Colby really wanted to live. And so, my best friend in the world, Kim, she introduced me to Joni Mitchell with Court and Spark, the next album, and that was back in high school, and I fell in love with this album even more. So Blue by Joni Mitchell is my favorite. Okay, now here we go with my very strange collection. Ready? You're going to tell me if you love the album, like the album, or if it's not your thing. This is I Am Woman by Helen Reddy.
like it,
Mm, yep.
like it, like it, like it.
Oh, good. And she has a version from before the album that of the song "I Am Woman" that is so interesting and cool to listen to. Okay, this one is a must because this is my Canadian friend Anne Murray, and the album "Let's Keep It That Way." She's in Nova Scotia, by the way. That's where she lives now.
Love it, love it.
Love it. Right? Okay. Adore. Okay. I just can't live without this album. This is Barry Manilow. This one's for you. Um, he had a Christmas special 2 years ago that like I couldn't get the smile off my face the entire time.
I'm not a Barry Manilow fan, but I got tickets for Mother's Day for my mom last year for her and her best friend. We were in Montreal, and I had to and they're older, and one of them has trouble walking, and I had to clear a path at the Bell Center and get them in the door. And it was digital tickets, and she didn't know how to use digital
Oh
tickets, so I had
no.
to walk right in and scan it for her, and then be like, "Okay, bye," and swim my way out of the crowd of everyone there. And I was shocked that it wasn't just people her age; it was there was people younger than me there and all dressed up. Everyone was going for it, which I do appreciate. So
The
yeah.
Fanilows are quite the group, let's
Oh
just be
yeah.
honest. Okay. And one of my friends who loves Barry Manilow, Shelly, is going to see this and she's going to be like, oh, there he is. Okay. This is the Bee Gees, and this is Spirits Having Flown is the name of this album. The big track on this one is Tragedy.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. I
I
like it.
know.
Like
Is
it.
Nights? Yeah, Nights on Broadway. Is that one on this one? No, that's not on this one. That's another great song as well. Yeah, this is a good album. Okay, almost done. Carpenters.
Like it.
This song's for you. Yeah,
Like
this one
it.
has Top of the World on it, and
Yeah.
okay, last one. Jim Croce Collection.
Like it. Like it.
Yeah, he's a really good one. He died way too young.
He did.
I don't have any Eagles on album, and I really need to. My biological father was a big Eagles fan, and I do love some of their music, and I just haven't gotten the albums together.
Our first move to France, I delayed it by 3 weeks so I could see the Eagles perform because they were going to do the Coliseum. Right. So we moved our flights so that I could see them one more time before we left. And I'd love
Well
to see
done.
them at the Sphere, but I wrote a book. I haven't finished it about Laurel Canyon because about this in the set in the 70s because
Ah,
yeah. I got a little derailed when Daisy Jones and the Six came out because it's similar. It's not the same, but it's similar. And I felt like it's been done. But I think I might revisit this book because it won't leave my head. And I just love the idea of all these musicians. And I kind of played into that with Colby because like Linda Ronstadt started a lot of these bands by just having these guys as her background musicians. And they found each other and working with her and then went off and formed their own bands.
I had no
So
idea.
Yeah. Oh, I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with everything. We lived at the foot of Laurel Canyon in West Hollywood, like, and I
Yeah.
used to drive by Joni's house all the time, and the
Oh,
store and all of that. I've been to Père Lachaise, which is the
the
cemetery where,
cemetery.
yeah, where Jim Morrison is, and yeah, like I just that whole era. Like I should have been a teenager in the '70s living in Laurel Canyon. I really should have been.
Same.
So
Same. I would have absolutely loved it. Yep. I'd have thrived there.
I would have been a very wild child, but
That's funny that you mentioned Père Lachaise. Every time I go to France, I have to go to Père Lachaise. There's something about walking around that place that's just so peaceful, isn't it?
yeah,
It's
and like
beautiful.
Edith Piaf is there, which I love her as a French singer. That's what my
Yeah.
parents listened to. So how this Eagle, I mean, no one to this day knows how that Eagles cassette showed up in that car. Like no one. I've asked everyone in my family. Everyone's like, no, I don't know. So that's why it's also like magical to me. So I keep it with me everywhere.
It
But yeah,
appeared.
because my parents listened to Charles Aznavour and Edith Piaf. Like literally, that was their jam.
Are they
So
French?
my mom, her father was born and raised in Paris, but she was born in Quebec. And she, I guess, brought that into my dad's life because I'm sure he didn't listen to that. Like he was a
Oh,
Springsteen fan as well. So that was
okay.
his,
Your mom and I would have gotten along because Françoise Hardy is one of my favorite
uh,
recording artists. Rest in peace. But
yeah,
I have her album up there, one of her albums that just I got in high school, and it still sings to me. Just beautiful stuff. But yeah,
yeah,
totally different genre of music, isn't it, than the rock that we're
yeah,
used to.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, Victoria Denault, you have written an amazing book and a lot of books, but it's called If the World Was Ending, and it is just the best story. I have two new husbands that will live in my brain forever and ever. It's one of my 5-star reviews because I can't get it out of my head, and it's a absolutely perfect work. So I hope a lot of people are going to see it. I hope Crave is going to pick it up. I hope Chip Tierney is going to make it into a great movie or TV show because it just has so much potential. And just like the NHL books, it has the potential to rock the boat in Hollywood in a way that needs to be rocked because I'm tired of them pretending they care about us
Yeah,
and then getting rid of all the wonderful performers who are a part of our community.
yeah.
It's very boring. So thank you for taking the time from Paris even to come and talk to me on my little interview experiment here. I've had a great time talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for reading the book and thank you for doing this with me because I love talking to reviewers and yeah, and this is really fun.
Yay, I'm glad. Thank you so much.